It's so good.
So
It's so good, man.
I just finished the Cape Crusader, so maybe I'll start watching my Adventures of Superman next.
Dude, it's genuinely like the new season really builds up on the first one.
Mhm.
Like they are not doing slice of life. They're not doing an everyday. They are like both continuing like the story of like Clark trying to find more of his family because they introduce the story of Kara. Like
Yeah.
she's in the season. So he gets like the news that like, oh, like your cousin is somewhere out there. Like you have family that still exists. And also like work, like their everyday lives do like take a toll on them, and like their personal lives are turn into like jeopardy because of their work lives. Like him and Lois are barely having like time for each other, and it's such a good exploration of like, okay, we got the relationship, it's developing, like it gets a little complicated, and I like that they are exploring that. Also, the way that they did Supergirl, it's fantastic. It's very anime the way that they did it, and really good. Really, every episode I was like, God damn, this really might be like the best version of Superman that we have right now. Until James Gunn proves us like wrong next year, this is like everything I wanted out of like a Superman. So lovely. Also, every day I'm convinced more that like my favorite asset in a Superman story are his adopted parents. Like I love Ma and Pa Kent, and in this version they have some great scenes too. There's not to spoil, but like there's a moment where like Clark finally like meets Kara, and like he brings her back to like the ranch in Kansas, and like they haven't even met her and they're already like, oh, Kara, welcome, we bake you a pie, we're so glad to have you. And it's like, my God, like I love these two, like they are great.
It reminds me of there is a scene in I think Superman the animated series. I want to say there where Clark brings Kara home and they
Mhm.
immediately embrace her. Like he's like, "Hey, can
Yeah,
you all? Is it okay if she stays here?" And they're like, "Fucking come on in. We have your old room. Let's go."
yeah,
Nice.
they they
I'm not
did
surprised.
they did something fantastic. And also the actors that are going to play them in the new Superman movie, they're uh kind of unknown character actors. Gunn picked them out of like theater, and I saw a picture of them, and I immediately got like this feeling of like these feel like the parents of a friend that like the friend invites you over for dinner at his house, and you just know those parents cook like super well. Like they give me that vibe. I'm like, yes, this is the shit right here. Superman, especially the second season, do us
Test
a
that.
favor.
Huh.
You good? I can't hear you.
Wait a second.
Can you hear me? There you are.
Microphone's working.
Okay.
Hold on.
What's up? What happened?
There we go. Okay, speaker's working again.
Okay.
Sorry, I
All
cut
right,
out.
ready to go.
Yes, yes, please.
All right.
All right.
Say the line.
Shema, hit the intro.
No.
Uh,
Say the line.
Shema, hit the intro?
Say say let's fucking go. Please just say it. Please just say it.
Let's fucking go.
Thank you for welcoming us into your headphones. My name is Chama,
And I'm Eddie.
reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine, and this is the rollback. Come together. A listless Wade Wilson toils away in civilian life with his days as the morally flexible mercenary Deadpool behind him. But when his own world faces an existential threat, Wade must reluctantly suit up again with an even more reluctant Wolverine. So this is Deadpool 3, aka Deadpool the Wolverine, directed this time by personal enemy of the show, Sean Levi, who previously directed Free Guide, Night at the Museum, The Adam Project, Cheaper by the Dozen, The Internship, and Real Steel. So right now,
Why is he in
starring.
any of this show? I liked Real Steel.
I hated Real Steel. Starring Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Emma Corrin, Matthew McFadden, Daphne Keane, John Favreau, Morena Baccarin, Rob Delaney, Leslie Uggams, and other colorful cameos. So, this is going to be Deadpool's entry into the MCU. We haven't had an MCU movie since the Marvels last year. This is going to be the only MCU movie that we have this year. And what a road it's been. This was a movie that I think a lot of people were excited about. I was wary because you know my history with the Deadpool projects and you know my history with Sean Levy. And here we are now. It came out. It's finally out. We can talk about it. Enough time has passed that I don't think we can spoil anything. So, what do we think about Deadpool and Wolverine? I'm gonna let you go first.
So, before we came on the show, here's a spoiler alert for you folks. Chema mentioned that some of y'all's favorite episodes are the episodes where we fight, and this might be one of them. So I'm just
There we
saying,
go.
get the goddamn bell ready. Um, First thing I'll say is this, and I'm not even gonna quote myself. I'm gonna quote Fernie. He said this film was a love letter to a franchise I never thought deserved it. And I think that is the perfect summation of this movie. Not the Deadpool part, because we all love Deadpool. Most of us should like Deadpool. If you don't like Deadpool, something's wrong with you. That said, this movie did so much to finish stories that we didn't think needed an ending, to somehow making it fit a perfect goodbye, but still kind of maintaining it, but also dancing on the corpse of a studio that no longer exists, while at the same time paying respect to the films that are arguably the foundation for the comic book boom we're still experiencing. This movie was complicated because a lot of reviewers that I respect, High Top Films, Nando V Movies, Film Speak, like didn't love it. And they were very apparent with their dislike or with the disdain of the studio being like, wink, wink, we know what we're doing. Wink, wink, we're making jokes at the expense of, thousands of people that just lost their jobs. Wink, wink. And it's like, this movie has so much baggage I didn't realize until after watching it. And yet, somehow, some way, through the power of dick jokes and buddy charisma, I liked it. I recognize its problems and its faults, but at the end of the day, I'll defend this film more than I'll bury it. Chema,
Okay.
go.
Do you remember the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie from a couple years ago?
Yes,
Do you remember that I hated it?
yes.
This is the Marvel equivalent of that movie. So here we go. I made it very vocal that I was not excited for this movie. I was not hyped. I am not a big fan of Deadpool. Excuse me if there's something wrong with me, okay?
Oh,
It's
there's plenty
just,
wrong with you, but we don't have time to dive into all that.
yeah, we don't. So I'm not a big fan. First of all, I'm not a big fan of Deadpool. I think the first two Deadpool movies are okay. They're okay. They're honestly good. They kind of worked kind of better because they were punching up. They were always punching up because they were aware that they were not as big as the MCU movies. They were aware that they were not as big as the Disney Marvel movies. The fact that we're coming from Fox was very apparent, and I think they put a lot of their frustrations into that. I think, in my own opinion, that when a big company studio that's owned by like billionaires, when they get self-referential and like self-aware and start poking joke at themselves, it never comes up as genuine. It always comes up as like, let's hire someone to write these jokes so that we may look more human. It didn't look good when DC did it with the what's it called, with
Give me a hero,
the
I'll name it.
what?
Give me a hero and I'll name it.
No. When they did it with the Teen Titans Go to the Movies movie.
Oh, okay.
Uh, Yeah, they made a ton of references about how like, oh, superhero movies are doing this. Oh, like it's so funny that like DC is doing this. Oh, it's so funny. Let's invite Stan Lee to make a cameo and like have been go like, oh my God, gross, DC, like leave. Like let's pretend like we're like this. And Disney has been playing this game ever since they launched Disney Plus. They have been like this. Like let's make self-referential jokes and let's make fun of what we're doing and like It'll be so funny and like, don't we look so cool because we're self-aware? I don't love that look. I like them when they are honest. And this, I feel, is very much trying to overcorrect a lot of things. The first being, let's bring back Ryan Reynolds. And Ryan Reynolds, I do think he's a good Deadpool. I don't think I can't imagine anyone else playing the character. I do think this makes sense. However, I have a problem with the finale of the movie, but we'll talk about what that when we get to that. I was against the idea of Sean Levy directing this. I was against the idea of Hugh Jackman coming back, and I was against the what I knew was going to be the eventual turnaround of this movie, which was people who were fans of Deadpool. If they didn't like it, they would be like, "Well, of course it sucks. It's Disney. They fucking ruin everything." Blah 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 blah. And if they liked it, they were gonna be like, "Well, of course it's fucking good because it's Deadpool and Disney is lucky to have him." Like that. That was gonna be the reaction always. I knew that the reaction was always going to be full of hypocrisy from the very start of the movie. Everyone is praising the joke about the opening credits where he's dancing to NSYNC. Everyone thinks it's so fucking funny. Even though when She-Hulk twerked with Megan Thee Stallion, you all were up in arms. You no.
I was not. I was not.
Do you need to pee?
No. No.
Okay.
I didn't hate the Megan Thee Stallion part. I liked it. I thought it was stupid that everyone was bitching about it.
Okay, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about, but you agree that was like a big reaction.
Unfortunately, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and like we all know the reason. We all know the reason why you all were upset at it. I'm just saying, bunch of fucking hypocrites, all of you. Because now it's like, oh my god, it's so funny. It's so funny that he's doing things that superheroes usually don't. It's so fucking funny, man. And I again
playing with the corpse of Wolverine though.
Yeah, that was fucking funny. Like that.
That was brutal. He was using
that. I cannot imagine being God, what's the name of the director who did Logan?
That guy.
Yeah, that guy. I cannot imagine poor that guy. Like James Mangold. Sorry, I cannot imagine poor James Mangold. They keep ruining his movies after the fact. This keeps happening to him. Like remember, because he did the Johnny Cash biopic, and then Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story came out after. And it's like, man, we can't look at your movie anymore because this is so fucking funny, man. And then now he did Logan. He poured his whole heart into Logan. And now it's like, oh, they're using his corpse. God damn it.
Oh, God.
And so I'm just saying, y'all a bunch of fucking hypocrites. And I knew that this movie was going to be a lot of deadbeat cameos. I knew it. Like, I knew that it was going to happen. And because Sean Levy does the same thing with David Leitch, but at least David Leitch is like improving. Like this, I can just think of like the problem with this movie, and the biggest problem is that it's supposed to feel like a reward. It's supposed to be like, hey, you watch all of this shit and you know all of this shit, and now you get to like understand everything that's happening. That is so fucking unfair to people who just want to see Deadpool 3. That is so unfair because I know a ton of people who watch this and we're like, why is there a Wells Deadpool? Why is Channing Tatum here? Why? And like, it's not fair, man. You shouldn't need real life context to enjoy a movie. It's my same problem with the ending with The Flash with like when Nicolas Cage showed up. Like it's so fucking unfair to the audience, man. And what?
Oh, okay. I was like, you and George Clooney?
No,
well, I know what you're talking about now. Okay.
Yeah, like you need to know like that story that Kevin Smith told in order to like get that. Like it's so unfair. It's so fucking unfair, man. And here, it's cool if you're a fan. It's cool if you've been in the sphere, but like a ton of people had no idea that like Channing Tatum was at one point tapped to play Gambit. People had no idea that like that a ton of these things were happening. They have no idea that Disney bought Fox. Like there's a ton of here that is trying really hard, and like the movie ends up being just kind of okay enough for it to work, but I don't like it as a thing. This doesn't feel like art. It doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like a product. It feels like a hey, don't you like these things? let's just put them here. And like it's not even like it's not as fun as like when someone does something out of love and like, hey, this thing is cool. Let me make something with it. This feels like graphs and focus groups and Reddit comments. And I'm conflicted because of course I laughed at some scenes. Of course I enjoyed some scenes, but there was a lot of it that I like. I'm convinced a third Deadpool movie would work by itself. I didn't need Wolverine in this. Wolverine had an ending. Why are we giving him another ending? Like, oh, it's something that we didn't know we wanted. This is not something I wanted. And with all due respect to like Jennifer Garner and Wesley Snipes and Daphne Keane and everything, like this honestly feel like they called a bunch of people and they were like, these are the ones that answered. Like which turned out to be true because they called Nicolas Cage to play Ghost Rider and he said no. Uh so I'm sorry, I'm not gonna have the best perspective on this. I did enjoy it as like a popcorn flick, but I hate to say this, I had a lot more fun with Twisters like a couple weeks before.
I mean, I'm shocked he had more fun with a piece of shit, but we'll talk about that when we get there.
Oh my
Um,
god, if you only like,
anyway, as we're talking
consider the
about
fact
Deadpool and
if
Wolverine
you
for this review,
feel it.
if we can talk about Wolverine and Deadpool for this review, a couple things.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not gonna dive into the whole story. We could be here for 3 hours and we'd still have a lot of shit to say. So I think we're gonna dive more into our feelings on the characters.
Yeah.
So okay, let's start with Deadpool himself, and then we'll jump into the Wolverine controversy. Um, as far as Deadpool is concerned, I did read a lot online how people don't like. I read a lot online about the negatives and the positives and the in-betweens, right? Um, a lot of the people are saying that they hated how Wade gave up. They felt like it wasn't in his nature to give up, that it felt out of character. To which my response is, that's how character works. You change over time. Your identity does change. You're not who you were when you were 15. You're hopefully less stubborn or maybe less resilient. Maybe you're more emotional or not emotional enough because you become hardened to the world. People change. So the fact that he gave up after a while because he couldn't handle rejection and it affected him, I feel like that is something relatable for a lot of people, and I kind of like that aspect of it. I liked how he was simply seeking purpose, like he was seeking, to be good enough. And I feel like that's something relatable enough to everyone. You can argue, oh, that's just focus group tested, which that's fine to say that, but at the same time, if you can actually relate to that, is that a bad thing? So I'll say that. When it comes to at least Wade Wilson's character, it felt like he was along for the ride. It did feel like his movie, but it does feel like Wolverine was a co-lead with him. Some of the jokes come in at his expense, some of the funniest moments, but it did feel like Deadpool played a significant role in this film. But I don't know, it's a little twisted there. Driving force. I would have liked it if at the very end they were like, "Huh, Wolverine isn't the anchor in their universe." What do you mean? It's Wade now. He replaced him. I don't know, something. Maybe that's too on the nose. But in a movie that winks at the audience legitimately, I think like 20 times. What's one more wink? You know? But that's just me.
Yeah.
What did you think of Deadpool himself? The comedy, the humor, the action, and everything in between.
I like where it starts. I'm usually not a big fan of stories that like, okay, let's make a sequel and the couple broke up and we're not gonna show you why or how. They just broke up and that's it. Which kind of sucks because I don't know if you remember when the first one came out, but this was touted as like this is a pretty fun summer blockbuster superhero movie. It's also kind of a great love story.
It is.
Um,
I remember, yeah.
and they just broke up for no reason. It's well, they do show a reason. They do show like that he lacks kind of motivation and focus, and she's trying to be like a little bit more normal in her life. But she was never that. Like she was never normal. She was never like calm. Like suddenly she has like a normal job. Suddenly she's not like different, and like now he has to follow as well. What about like my crazy matches your crazy? Like what happened to that? You
Yeah,
know?
but when their soul changes on that level, sometimes people fall apart. It's someone's fault. It's just we become different individuals.
it's just I can understand it in like a drama, but like in a movie like this, like also it kind of didn't change thing. It didn't change a lot. Like they kind of got back together at the end with like no rhyme or reason. Like they just kind of do. And I don't know, I like the story. The movie kept making jokes about how like, oh, like Feige says we can't do cocaine. Ah, it's so funny. We can't do cocaine. Ah, like it's so fucking funny. You know what else I noticed that they didn't do a lot in this one?
What?
Not a lot of like body, like I don't want to say body horror, but like not a lot of like body mutilation. Like in the other Deadpool movies, like he got like torn up in half and he would cut up his own arm and like you would see like holes through his body. And like in this one, it's like there's violence and he like hits people, but like he doesn't get like mutilated. I'm not saying I want to. I'm saying that like I feel like that's a thing that like Disney was like, hey, tone that shit down, you know?
I feel
Um,
like they balance that out with, like just the very beginning with the him like using the claws and you see it going through someone's head, someone's throat. Wait a second, the part where he uses the claws sticks in someone's ass and then on someone's dick. I would argue that that counts.
that's it's yeah, I mean it's good. It's like it's pretty good actually. Which by the way, I want to say one last thing about the whole dance sequence. A lot of people are just like, "Oh my god, it's so funny! It's a Deadpool. This is Deadpool." That him dancing is not funny because he's Deadpool dancing. It's funny because he's doing the choreography of the original music video. That's why it's so fucking funny. Yeah, people don't get that apparently. Like,
But okay. So we
anyway,
talked about Deadpool. You want to talk about Hugh?
yeah, okay. I'm actually glad of what they did. I'm actually cool with what they did.
Go on.
Yeah, I was really against him coming back, but I figured, they'll most likely make him a variant. I'm glad they make him a variant. I'm surprised they made him the worst one. Not me saying it. The movie
Yeah.
says so. The movie says he's the worst Wolverine.
Yeah.
Uh, I like the whole sequence of like him, trying to find the different Wolverines. Although two problems. One, I think it's kind of short. I think if they were gonna use that concept, they should have gone all out, which they went pretty out. But yeah, I like that we have like some pretty cool callbacks to the comics and the animated series and the different runs, like the different suits that we see him in. I like that we saw like a comic accurate height one, where he's like a pretty short.
Yeah.
Uh, we even got to see a Henry Cavill variant,
Yeah.
which love that, love that. I like that. Even though they've been pretty respectful to DC. I like that they did have like one moment where they were like, we'll treat you better than the fucks down the street. Like it's like, yeah, it's fucking true, you know? Yeah, I like that. Also, there was a little callback. I don't know if a lot of people noticed it, but like Cavalry before like punching out Deadpool, he does the reloading arms thing from Mission Impossible.
I did.
Did you notice that?
Oh, that's why he moved all weird. I was like, why the fuck is he doing this?
He's like he did that to like pull out his claws, but like he did it as like a reference to Mission Impossible. It was pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
And I like that Kevin also had a sense of humor about it because they asked him recently and he was like, I got to shave my mustache for this.
I like that.
Which, God, we love him. He's never gonna get a project off the ground, but like we love him.
God damn, Henry
Yeah,
Cavill.
that Warhammer movie's never gonna happen. Um, okay.
But
Anyway,
but
yeah.
okay. So it's a variant Wolverine, and you appreciated that.
I appreciated that. I also really like Jackman's commitment to this. He had a couple of really good dramatic scenes, which I feel bad for him because like I know how much he wants to be. He just wants to sing and dance, man. That's all he wants to do, and we keep just making him do this shit. It's so unfair. But no, he really pulls it off. He really has a couple of really good dramatic scenes, and I think he works. I am against one thing that they did at the end. But unless you want to
Go-
talk about it right now, I
Come
don't
on.
like that he leaves.
He lives.
I don't like that he leaves, and I don't like that he stays there with him.
They need him for Secret Wars. Of course he's gonna live.
No, I don't want him I don't want him as Wolverine anymore. I thought he was gonna be just
He's
like
gonna
a
okay.
one-time thing.
I'm calling it
I
right now. I think Secret Wars pulls an Infinite Crisis, collapses the multiverse into one fucking timeline. I'm calling it now. That's what's gonna happen.
They should have done this in this movie. Like, I'm sorry to make the comparison. This movie's better than The Flash, but it leaves the MCU in the same position as DC's The Flash.
You're not wrong. I think The Flash should have been the last DCEU film, and that should have collapsed everything. And then it's like, what's next? And then you jump straight into Superman.
Because look, in this one, it's like okay, it ends with like, oh, this Wolverine's alive, and even though we made a whole fucking show and several movies about how it's wrong to keep a variant from one universe in another one, even though we've said repeatedly that it's a bad idea, this movie's like, yeah, Wolverine, stay alive, stay a while. Hey, let's bring back X-23. She's not doing anything. Which, by the way, they never explained why she's in the void. Like, she was alive. Like, she should have been fine. Why
No,
the
remember
fuck is she?
their universe. She was their universe is collapsing. She's one of the problems that would have stood in their way, so they put her down.
Why is she alive at the end then? And why aren't the other ones alive then?
Remember, the TVA said maybe we can help with that. Look, man, they just picked what they want to keep alive. All right, shut up and accept it.
But the Loki show explained that the TVA can't do all this. Like, did they even like
Who
track
has
this
seen the
bullshit?
Loki show season 2? Raise your hands if you've seen season 2. No one? But ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening right now, look around to the people in your room and ask, have you seen Loki season 2? I guarantee you they have not.
It's more people that saw Black Adam. And there is a lot going on here. I'll always go back to that, okay? I'll always go back to that. And anyway, I don't like the ending to this.
Mhm.
I do not like the ending. I am not saying that I should have been in charge. I'm not saying that, but I am saying if they wanted this to be the big Deadpool enters the MCU, Deadpool should have entered the MCU because it ends with him in his regular ass universe just existing by itself, and that's it. Why are we doing a tribute at the end to the Fox movies if this is not the end? If they are openly saying that this universe still exists, why?
No, not that universe. Hold on. So
They didn't create a new one by the end. Like, they saved the one that Deadpool was in, and that was the Fox universe.
No, but they're saying goodbye to the Fox. No, but they did say goodbye to the Fox. As I understand it, Earth 10005 is different from the Fox universe. It's not all in the same.
They are in the same.
No, Elektra's universe got destroyed.
Yeah.
Blade's universe got destroyed. Laura's universe got destroyed.
No. At the beginning of the movie, Deadpool travels to where Logan ends. Yeah, where Logan was buried, which is where X-23 was. That universe still exists because he went to get the skeleton from there.
But that makes no sense. Then why is it that Colossus is able to exist if he was one of the ones slaughtered? And Negasonic Teenage Warhead. It's you get what I'm saying though, right? It's like, oh hey, fucking they're all scattered to the wind. Multiple universes have been destroyed. Don't think about
Deadpool where Deadpool happens is where X-Men happens because they showed up in Deadpool 2.
I know there are X-Men, but is it the same universe?
They are the same. They look
Whatever.
the same.
We're fighting on a stupid hill. Look, point being is that
we are fighting on a stupid hill, but this movie wants us to believe all this.
This movie simply wanted to say bye. Like, that's it. At least give some people a chance to say bye. And probably a half decent payday, I'm not gonna lie. Rusty Snipes needs the money, tax evasion and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is that this movie gives these characters to say bye. Characters that we didn't even think we would have ever wanted to see. For the record, Channing Tatum, if that was, I severely doubt it. If that was the actual accent that he was going to use in the Gambit film, thank God they never got Gambit off the ground.
Why?
His accent.
That's what Gambit sounds like. That's what he sounded in the animated series.
Good for him. He can't pull it off. I'm sorry, Channing. You're not.
He's from Louisiana. That accent was actually pretty legit.
Change the fucking accent to make it more understandable. I understood it, but everyone around me was saying, "What the fuck is he saying?" I shit
Actually,
you not. In
not
my
gonna lie,
theater,
not gonna lie, I found that kind of rude. How the whole movie they were just like, man, we cannot understand you. Like that's how people talk.
that's Creo. That's Creo. But again, if in my fucking packed ass theater on a Tuesday where I'm shoulder to shoulder with motherfuckers and everyone around me, including someone with a master's degree, is saying, "What did he just say?" I'm sorry, you need to work on your speech. A speech pathologist said he needs to work on this. All right. So you know what? I'm sorry, Channing. Fucking work on that. I'm from Louisiana. Yeah, but you don't sound like that all the time, do you? Sound proper so we can understand you. Sir.
Sound proper just means sound like centrist, means sound quote
No,
unquote
work on your diction.
American. All
No,
right, say
work on your
rural.
diction. Be able
Say
to pronounce
rural.
words completely.
Say rural.
Rural. Fuck you.
Oh, you Southerners are so funny. Anyway, no, that's what he sounds like in the animated series. That's his accent.
Then
That's it.
the voice actor should play him because fuck, no one understood him except for that one meme where he says, "Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself here."
Yeah,
That's the one fucking meme where everyone can actually understand him for
I
once.
actually changed my Instagram description to be, oh, I'm about to make a name for myself here. Yeah.
Oh, what?
I'm surprised people took up to that when my favorite line that he says is when he goes like, I know my daddy, but I'm pretty sure I shot off his dick ready. And then Deadpool goes like, Jesus, that's graphic. And then he goes, yeah, he was laying them bodily nuts up in my mind. And I came out and I said, what's up, Doc? Like, that's the best line in the movie. That's generally the fucking funniest line in the movie.
Oh
Like,
man.
I saw people that were Cajun, that were from Louisiana, that were from like the French Riviera, who were like very specifically going like, he nailed it. That's awesome. Like he sounds like me. It's so cool. I see it as a win because like that's what the character's supposed to sound like. Like I wouldn't expect. I expected that. Didn't expect less.
Mm. But okay, so I want to talk about some fight scenes actually. I want to jump over some
Okay.
fight scenes. I want to
Right.
talk about Wolverine versus Deadpool rounds 1 and 2. Particularly the minivan fight was fucking hilarious. Leading
Minivan
up to
fight,
that.
pretty creative.
But man, that okay, so you mentioned Hugh Jackman having some dramatic scenes. That might be my favorite, not my favorite in the whole film, but maybe from Jackman when he tells him, what does he say? No wonder the Avengers didn't want you. No wonder the X-Men didn't want you. You couldn't save a world. You couldn't even save a relationship with a fucking stripper. I'd say you die alone, but it's one of God's best jokes that you can't die. Except it's on all of us.
Yeah.
You got nothing to say, mouth. And Deadpool just says, I'm going to fight. I'm going to hit you now.
Yeah.
And just fucking hilarious. I loved that. I loved how funny their fight is and how like Deadpool is just like scrapping. Like it's an ugly
Yeah.
fight that continues on and on. That part where Jackman tackles the van shoulder first and pops the airbags into Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like, man. And they just keep going and going and going. And then like following when Laura picks them up, like he's passed out and Deadpool's just tied up in seatbelts.
Yeah, that was fucking funny. Just that image of like him being tied in the seatbelts was hilarious. Um, I like that scene. Regarding the first fight when they're in the void and they're behind like the big Fox logo.
Yeah.
Um, First of all, we saw pictures come out of like when they were recording that, and that's when we first saw Hugh Jackman in the yellow suit. And I remember people going like, "God damn it! Like we shouldn't be seeing this." And I agree. I
Mhm.
am shocked, but I guess that's the price for filming on location. However, what I cannot believe is that pictures didn't come out of a specific cameo that was also in that scene. Why are you thinking hard about this?
What are you talking about?
Chris Evans.
Oh, I'm sure that was CGI. That was a lot of CGI, I'm sure.
I mean, I'm shocked. I'm generally like shocked that we did not hear about this because for some reason, before the movie came, like while the movie was still being promoted, they were like, "Oh yeah, Jennifer Garner is gonna be in it as Elektra," and I'm like, "Why are you telling us that? Don't tell us that." And then a week before the movie comes out, another teaser comes out, and like Daphne Keane is there at the end, at 6:23, and I go like, "Why the fuck would you show that? The movie's coming out in 5 days. Why would you spoil this?" And then I saw an interview with Feige, and Feige was like, "Yeah, we released that because she really wanted to go to the premiere." And if she was in the premiere, people were gonna know that she was gonna be in the movie. So we just it was it was selfish, but we just wanted to do it for her. And I'm like, God damn it, Feige. God damn it. That's actually like a pretty sweet reason. God damn it. Okay, fine, I guess. And then yeah.
Chris Evans.
So yeah, Chris
I,
Evans shows up.
people thought it was Captain America in my theater.
I thought it was Captain America. Yeah, like
I was like, bullshit, I swear to God. And he does a superhero landing. I'm like,
yeah.
no. Okay. In comics, no one stays dead. And Chris Evans,
Except
Captain
that's
America,
the rule.
Uncle
No,
Ben.
Uncle Ben.
Well, the rule used to be Jason Todd. Legit, the joke for decades was Uncle Ben, Jason Todd, and Bucky are the only three that stay dead. So now I'm waiting for Uncle Ben to come back to life in Secret Wars. I'm not joking. I'm waiting for him to come back. Martin Sheen is still alive. Um. Anyway, that said, fucking I don't like. You know what bothered me more than Hugh Jackman coming back was Chris Evans coming back. I understand he played Johnny Storm. The thing is, I feel like that's just tickling the line of him coming back. Like it was almost pointless. It was just for fun. Like Robert Downey Jr. coming back and Hugh Jackman both almost feel to some degree disrespectful to some degree. Like both had perfect endings. Chris Evans came back just not as the same character, but it feels like it still feels wrong, but it's a different character, so it's almost like how do I say this? Yeah, you killed the guy in self-defense, but you had already broken both his arms. So did you really have to kill him? It was like,
I I personally think that his is probably the most coherent cameo in the whole movie
how so?
because it kind of lays the ground rules that like it's kind of speaking in both directions. It's going like, hey, this universe is depleting, it's fading away. It mirrors the fact that Fox is no longer, and we're liquidating it. We're getting rid of everything. So when Paradox starts explaining to Wade, like, hey, this is where this is going, like we're depleting everything, it's all going into the void. Him showing up as Johnny Storm is absolutely perfect because it tells us everything of like, oh, so the characters from Fox are here because we're literally getting rid of them.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel disrespectful at all because it's very clearly saying this is someone else. This is playing someone else. Like it, I would have liked if he had been like clean shaven, like from the head, just so it will be more like Johnny Storm. But I guess they're trying to play the whole fact of like, oh, he's like a survivor, like he's been there for a while. It's kind of Mad Maxy. Um, I think that was the most coherent cameo, and I like that they did let him be an asshole because he was an asshole in those movies. So yeah, made complete sense to me.
Is it just me? You know, I just realized why I don't like the Void and Loki to some degree, like the first Loki season one. Because at one point during the show, at one point during the film, they mentioned, yeah, we had a Punisher, we had a few Xaviers, we've had a few Doctor Stranges, and it almost feels like it's diminishing the characters because it's like, so you're just this version of the character, so you
Yeah,
don't matter. Like
it,
like the
yeah,
Infinity Stones, I hated seeing the Infinity Stones in Loki because it felt like it was diminishing the significance of this because oh, this is just a paperweight here.
yeah.
And I hate that. I hate that we invested so much time and energy into gauging these things, and then it's a paperweight.
But you
Oh,
don't
you're not
think
that
that that
special.
like
It's one of our Punishers. It's he. Oh, we've never had one of the Wolverines here before. We've killed a few Xaviers, a couple Doctor Stranges. Fuck them. I don't like that.
But we've been doing that for like several movies now. Like we did that with and same thing happening in Spider-Man, where like it's like, oh, this is my Spider-Man. Oh, this is my Peter Parker. Like this
Yeah, but
is
they were never
like we've
talked
been
down to. It never felt like we were talking. It felt different because in those films, it felt like they were playing a role as far as trying to guide Peter rather than you're not significant. Whereas in this, they're dead or dying or have been killed. And it's like you're not special. The story moves on without you. And granted, I understand that's the whole idea. It's just I don't like when they're used. If they're used to move the story along, I'm cool with it. That's why I like Electro Gambit, Blade, and X-23. They're used to move the story along, right? And give them an ending, right? Goodbye to Fox. I don't like how they mention how, oh yeah, we've killed a bunch of your versions because so they weren't heroes because heroes are supposed to get the job done. They're supposed to win.
they're supposed to at one point they win until they don't.
Yeah, but that's not the story that we're used to being presented. In theory, Perseverance is supposed to end with you winning. It's why I don't like disaster films because I gravitate towards stories where the protagonist, can work hard, work through it, or at the very least, the ending feels right. Even in Seven, where it's a tragic ending, it feels not a happy ending, but the right ending within the terms of the world that we've been given. Versus in this, where it feels like they diminish a hero's sacrifice. Tony Stark is not the best of us because that just happens to be one universe. And on all these other ones, he never even existed. It
Well,
diminishes
those
it
are
to me at least. Maybe I'm getting too
yeah.
meta here.
No. I think you're cracking on something very, very interesting because it's like it is that is a risk that this company runs when they decided to make this whole arc or this whole phase about multiverses. Like they decided to do that. So now they have to live with this very valid criticism that's coming from you. It's really interesting because even though I have a ton of problems with this movie, that's not one of my problems with the movie. Weirdly enough, I kind of felt okay with the fact that, for example, in Multiverse of Madness, when they said like, "Oh yeah, in this universe, like we killed Thanos," and like that's it, like that's the end of the story. I didn't felt it as like, "Hey, that's bad." I just felt it as like, "Well, this is a universe where just this happens." Like we've been playing with multiverse theory for years, like ever since I first read it in the original Flashpoint comic. We know that this is like a possibility. So I don't think I don't think it's a good idea to like unify all this and like make it all into one timeline. I don't want to see one timeline. I think it kind of defeats the whole purpose of like exploring the multiverse and seeing different versions of a character. It could be good, and I do agree that we are getting a lot of them right now. Probably too many. A lot of them not even good. Flash. And we are going to have some tumbles in the way. I think the way that this movie did multiverse was a little better than I thought it was gonna do. I thought it was gonna be really bad. But for example, there are things that I think were done pretty badly. Like they keep talking about like, oh, there's Deadpool core. There's a ton of Deadpools, and then they show up and like there's like 100, but there's only like 10. Like only 10 of them are different. The rest are just normal Deadpools. And
Mhm.
like, remember when we saw like in the second Spider-Verse, we saw like a million Spider-Man and they were all different.
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like this one tries to get the multiverse thing right, and it's kind of an empty plate. It's complicated. Weirdly enough, and I thought that this was gonna be the bad part, I thought the Wolverine stuff was the best part. Because like I do like the story of like he has to compare himself to all these other Wolverines that get the job done, and he doesn't. He fails, and he gets a chance to make that better. And by the way, the joke of them constantly saying like, "We're gonna make you do this till you're 90," I didn't thought it was cute. I thought it was very alarming. I took it a little too seriously. Um, but yeah, those are my biggest problems, my biggest gripes with the movie. Although Nice Pool, what a fucking good addition to the movie.
I
Fucking
love
love Nice Pool.
I love how when Wolverine is just like, "You did that on purpose." He's like, "No, I didn't. I thought he could regenerate." And he's like, "I can't." He's like, "You're gonna live. Say it with me. I'm gonna live." And he's just, these gold pistols. I'm
Yeah,
gonna use these to avenge him.
yeah. I love the moment where he goes like when he's talking to the dog and he's like, "Where are you going? Original recipe or Van Milder over here?" And then he goes like, "Oh, nice. I can also gently tap the fourth wall. The proposal." Like that's it. That's all. He just goes like,
Legit. I heard people in my audience. Funny enough, all women were like, "Oh,
"Yeah, that's what the proposal does."
no, no, no." I know, but like that, it was funny. Uh,
Yeah,
that
they
all
just go like,
the ladies were all the ones that were like, "Oh,
it's kind of a perfect rom-com. Like it kind of is. Like
is it though?"
it really is. Like, not gonna lie, it's pretty fucking good, and it's actually one of the few where Reynolds kind of plays a straight man instead of like
The funny
the
guy.
crazy man. Yeah, yeah, he's actually pretty good in that. And oh my god, like Betty White, like,
What a treasure.
wherever you are, like, yeah. Uh, anyway, yeah. I like Nice Pool. I like the dog. There's a cowboy Deadpool that's voiced by Matthew McConaughey, which was kind of great. Um,
Yeah. How about
yeah,
that?
the only one that I thought was kind of stupid was the floating head one. They didn't even like explain like what the fuck that was.
Oh, that's from the comics.
I guess it was kind of dumb. And then they had like Nathan Fillion voiced him, which was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they made a whole deal on the internet about Lady Pool, and like, okay, kind of didn't do much. She was just kind of there.
Yeah. It was Blake Lively.
It
But
was Blake Lively also. Yeah,
I loved the sequence with Wolverine pulling out the mask and like, let's fucking go. And him and Deadpool just slaughtering their way through all these Deadpools. I loved it. I loved Wade and Logan just working their way through. And then like the question comes like, wait a second, they all regenerate. Why like it's a losing battle. Peter saves them, and then we get like this sweet part, I'm gonna call it sweet, where they both want to sacrifice themselves.
yeah.
Wade to have purpose, Logan to have a hero's death. And instead of like giving Logan what I think we were all suspecting, which was, oh, Logan's gonna sacrifice himself or whatever. No, we get Wade and Logan sharing the burden. That way they both survive and can move on to do more of these movies. Because yay, Secret Wars is coming.
I
I don't
I
hate I
I am
understand
okay with this. I was actually okay with that ending. That part was okay.
with them sharing the load. Giggity.
Yeah, I would have preferred if like at the end when they're sitting in the bench eating shawarma, which yeah, funny, nice callback.
Yeah.
When because there's a moment where like Deadpool kind of turns and he goes like, "Will I see you again?" And he goes, "No," and just like stands up and like leaves. If he had left and that would be the ending, I would have been like, that genius, like fucking genius. Like if that was genuine, like if he genuinely just like, no, you're never gonna see me again. You cannot afford me, and like left, like that would have been so funny. But no, they decide like, no, stick around. Let's move in. Let's be roommates. Let's keep doing this till we're 90, just because they're fucking friends in real life. I hate that. I know that. I shouldn't know that. I
But
hate
the
to know
fact,
that. Like,
but you cannot deny that. Okay, two things that Hugh Jackman did right. One, they do have insane chemistry. But two, Hugh Jackman playing the straight man to Deadpool is perfect. It is Cable on a better level. And I like
yeah,
it. I think it works.
in this movie, I don't really want to see it again.
I think it can work. I don't think we're getting Deadpool and Wolverine 2, if that's what you're expecting. But I think if they bring back Wolverine for Secret Wars and him and Deadpool can keep playing off each other, I think it'll work in that context. Deadpool 4, I have no idea what they're gonna do. It'll probably be him and Spider-Man. I don't know which one, probably Tom Holland, which is gonna be a little weird because Holland looks like a perpetual child. No offense, but I mean it's fucking true.
He's
Uh
growing up.
he he
Um,
does not look like, I'm sorry, he can still convincingly play a high school kid. No offense, Tom.
I just saw the documentary about Michael J. Fox. It's called
Uh,
Still,
uh,
and that was like a big thing with him. That like he was in high school and still looked like a child, so he started acting as like child characters, but he
yeah.
could do it because he was older, and he kind of stayed stuck in that. And I ended up crying with that documentary. Highly recommend everyone go watch it. I'm not saying this is gonna happen to Tom Holland. I'm saying he's also like he's growing. Like he is looking like a little different. It's just man, he needs a better talent, a better talent agent. Because like, what
Well,
the fuck is he doing?
well, because Disney owns his ass. Like, let's be clear, Disney owns Tom Holland. Like, if
No,
start doing,
Sony owns his ass. Like it's actually
you sure?
Sony,
You sure
but
it's not the mouse?
I'm pretty sure they would like to own it. They don't. And also like they don't own him. He's not signing to do any more Spider-Man for like a bit. That's why he kind of went back to theater to like kind of like regroup and like rethink and let Zendaya like be in the limelight, which she deserves. So I don't know. I'm not too worried about that right now. I'm kind of not worried. I am honestly the project that I'm looking forward to the most right now, weirdly, and I can't believe I'm saying this, it's Fantastic Four. Like I kind of love what they showed in Comic-Con. And I like the cast. I like the fact that it looks both futuristic and 60s inspired.
Mhm.
And I like everything that I'm seeing. I'm kind of looking forward to see how that's gonna fare up and how they're going to implement themselves into a Doomsday and then Secret Wars.
Mhm.
We'll see. This going back to just Deadpool and Wolverine. This doesn't feel like Deadpool entering the MCU. It feels like Deadpool 3 plus Wolverine, and there's some good moments to get out of it, but not I don't know. It feels kind of pandering, especially the soundtrack, which I feel like a lot of people are praising, but it's like these all feel like the same songs that you usually hear in a ton of movies. They just all put them in the same one.
Yeah, but also the fact that like they used a lot of them perfectly. I don't know. I thought it worked. Who the fuck would use Madonna's "Take You There" to a battle?
It's called like a prayer, first of all,
Like, all right.
and second, I do. It's on my workout playlist, so
The epic version is on my playlist now. The Deadpool
uh,
Wolverine version is on
yeah,
my playlist.
yeah, it's cool. I do like. I can't believe I haven't talked about this, but fucking Matthew McFadden, who plays Paradox, Mr. Paradox from the
Oh, Mr.
TVA.
Darcy.
Yeah. Look, anyone who has binged Succession for the last few years got their money's worth when they went to see this movie. Because have you seen Succession?
No.
So he is one of the main characters in Succession. He is the husband of the daughter of like the rich guy. And he plays such a philandering asshole, but in it's such a unique way. He's so fucking funny in Succession because he's such a dick, but he's such a dick in such a unique way. And I thought like, okay, is he gonna play Tom Wamsgans from Succession in Deadpool? Is that just gonna be it? And yes, because the moment when he started going like, "I am the master of the timeline," like when he did that, and then when they brought him the sandwich, and he's like, "I'm eating my feelings," it's like that's so Tom. This is just Tom from Succession in the TBA. It's absolutely wonderful. Love that addition. Honestly, I have high expectations of every time that they use TBA because I like the Loki show. I love the Owen Wilson character that helps him. I think there's such a sadness and a sweetness to that character. He's become like one of my favorite characters in the MCU. And the fact that this guy plays just a complete opposite, like just a complete douche, just wonderful, just absolutely wonderful. He was one of my favorite parts in the movie, and that part of the end when like he gets busted and he goes like, "Well, nothing we can do about that now," and then we just hear, "He is risen, baby girl," and then
Fuck!
he gives one of the most perfect fucks that I've ever heard in a movie, and then Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls starts playing as like these two walk in like slow motion. Just absolutely wonderful. Those are scenes that I can really get behind.
All right. Well, what's your score for Deadpool and Wolverine?
2.5 out of 5.
Wow. Okay. 8.5 out of 10. Goddamn.
Yeah. Okay. Look, I have liked other movies more this year. I don't see myself for watching this one a lot, but who knows? It's kind of interesting that it exists, and I am interested to see where it takes us. Because like the next Marvel movie that we have is
Brave New
until
World.
next year. Yeah, Brave New World, and then fucking oh god, what's the next one? I
Uh,
got them right here.
we also have Agatha Everywhere All at Once. So we were discussing, trying to remember
Oh
now.
yeah, after Brave New World, there is Thunderbolts,
Which fits.
which
Thunderbolts should feed, Brave New World should feed into Thunderbolts.
yeah, I think Thunderbolts is gonna be kind of like a Suicide Squad kind of thing,
Oh yeah. No,
and then
definitely.
we'll see how it goes in this MCU machine. Anyway, yeah, I liked it. I liked this. I liked it. In my top ranked movies of the year, this is number 24 of 34.
Damn.
Yeah.
I I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be. It'll probably be in my top 10. It might be the Marvel representative. Well, it's the only Marvel representative. What do we have? We don't even have a DC film. We're only gonna have Joker.
We're only gonna have Joker.
Hmm. That'll be interesting. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, this year has been pretty good for representing like original movies, so I think my top is gonna end up representing that instead of like
Franchises.
franchises. Yeah, but we'll see. Anyway, my throat is hurting because I've been yelling more than I usually do. So, okay, we gave our scores. We gave what we thought. I'm happy to be doing this with you again. Life has been crazy. Good that we're back. And we'll be back next week with you want to do Trapped or
Sure. Trapped.
let's do Trapped. All right, next week we're coming back with another M Night Shyamalan joint. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. My name was Chema,
I've been Eddie.
and this was the Robot. Signing off with a reminder to just no more multiverse stories. Just the next Spider-Verse, and that's it. Please, no more.
Or we're
I'm
gonna do them.
done.
At least do them well.
What?
Or if you're gonna do a multiverse story, at least do it well.
I think they need to go away in order to like decompress and stuff. I think we're getting too many.
Hmm.
Anyway, good night.